Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the US dollar index is continuing the breakout, heading towards this bullish price target, which is not good news for crypto, while Ethereum is attempting a break to the downside below critical support, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, we need to take a look at the US dollar index chart here on the daily time frame, because over the last one day, we have seen another daily candle close above this previous high. And so once again, this is another confirmation signal confirming the breakout to the upside in the DXY above this resistance, above this previous high. And so once again, as I've talked about over the last few days, this means the DXY, or the US dollar currency index, is likely going to head up towards this next resistance based on these previous highs. And in case you're wondering, this level of resistance right here is sitting at around 105.6 to 105.7 approximately. And as of right now, the DXY is sitting at around 105.1 approximately. And so if you measure that move out, that's around a 0.5 to 0.6% gain in the DXY, or from the point of the breakout, that's roughly around a 1% move to the upside. And in case you're new to this channel, that could likely translate to around a 4% move to the downside in the price of Bitcoin, because basically the DXY, the US dollar index, and the price of Bitcoin are inversely correlated, which basically means if one goes to the upside, then the other usually goes to the downside. So for example, if the DXY is moving to the upside, as it has been since around the middle of July, that usually means the price of Bitcoin is going to be bearish, as it has been since around the middle of July. And so now that we're seeing the DXY breakout above resistance looking bullish, heading up towards the next level of resistance, obviously once again with the DXY looking bullish, that means we could likely see another bearish movement for the price of Bitcoin. And once again, in case you missed my last few videos talking about this, essentially the negative correlation between the DXY and the price of Bitcoin is not a one-to-one negative correlation. And so essentially if the DXY is going to the upside 1%, that does not mean we're going to just see a 1% move to the downside, because if you measure this entire move from around the middle of July, from that high all the way down to around the current price of Bitcoin, that's nearly a 20% move to the downside in the price of Bitcoin. But if you measure that same move in the DXY from around the middle of July up until where we are right now, that's roughly around a 5% move to the upside. And so once again, since around the middle of July, when the DXY has flipped more bullish and the price of Bitcoin has flipped more bearish, for every 1% the DXY has moved to the upside, we see a roughly around a 4% move to the downside in the price of Bitcoin. And so once again, when you consider all of that is happening right now, and considering the DXY is now breaking out to the upside looking bullish, it's only logical to assume that we're probably going to see another bearish move in the price of Bitcoin, perhaps into this area of support, sitting in between around 24.3k to 25.3k. And as for the daily Bitcoin price oscillators, right now, the daily Bitcoin MACD is still currently showing very low momentum. And as for the daily Bitcoin RSI, this is technically still within a bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows. But just in the somewhat shorter term on the daily time frame, there is a possible bullish divergence forming right now. But at least as of right now, that potential bullish divergence forming is not yet confirmed. So that is just something to pay attention to, as it is potentially forming, but not something to act on as of right now, because once again, it is not yet confirmed. And speaking of bullish divergences, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously a few days ago now, we did actually confirm a small bullish divergence here on the 6-hour Bitcoin chart. And for the most part, over the last few days, we have seen mostly choppy sideways price action as an outcome of that bullish divergence. And so essentially, we've taken a small pause from that bearish trend on the daily time frame, just in the imminent short term here. But right now, as of recording this video, we are now beginning to see a breakdown in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI below this ascending line of support. And so basically, if this breakdown confirms with a 6-hour candle close, actually confirming the RSI in place, and more importantly, if the RSI actually forms a new lower low below this previous low in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI, which is sitting at around 34, then in that case, that would essentially invalidate this short-term bullish divergence, which would be a signal that we're potentially about to resume that bearish trend after that small pause that we've seen over the last few days. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Bitcoin order books, we do have a decent amount of buy orders in between around 25.1k to 25.2k acting as support. And we also have another group of buy orders sitting at around $25,000 per Bitcoin. And as for resistance, we have a decent amount of sell orders sitting in between around 26.1k to 26.2k approximately, once again acting as resistance. And just a reminder that right now, of course, we are in September, which historically speaking is more of a bearish month for the price of Bitcoin and really for the overall crypto market. Because if you're looking at the last 6 years of history, every single September over the last 6 years has been bearish. And in fact, over the last 10 years of history, 8 Septembers have been bearish and only 2 Septembers have been bullish over the last 10 years. And the only 2 Septembers that have been bullish over the last 10 years have simply been a small 2% gain and a 6% gain. And that was it for the last decade of history. But on the flip side, if you're looking at October, that is usually a much better month for Bitcoin and the overall crypto market, because basically over the last decade of history, we've seen 8 bullish Octobers and only 2 bearish Octobers. And in fact, over the last 4 years of history, we've seen 4 bullish Octobers in a row over the last 4 years. And so basically October is pretty much around the opposite to what we see in September usually. And so once again, as I've been saying for a while now on this channel, we should expect a somewhat bearish September as the most likely scenario. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but leading into October, it's more likely that we could have a bullish October, once again, just based on history. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, the price of ETH is attempting a break to the downside below this important area of support. And in case you're wondering, this area of support is sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. And as you can see right here in the volume profile indicator, we do not have a lot of support immediately to the downside if we do actually confirm a break below 1620. And so what that means is we could potentially see a fairly quick move to the downside if a strong break below 1620 confirms, with at least a daily candle close below that support. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, right now the daily Ethereum MACD is still currently showing very low momentum. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, technically we have not yet seen a breakout from that bearish trend. But it is worth pointing out that we are potentially seeing a bullish divergence form here on the daily time frame for the price of ETH, because obviously we are beginning to see some lower lows in the price in the daily candle closes, while also seeing some slightly higher lows here in the daily Ethereum RSI. But once again, as I said yesterday, and as I said earlier in the video for Bitcoin, this potential bullish divergence forming right now is not yet confirmed. And now, if this bearish trend on the daily time frame continues with a confirmed break well below this support, then in that case, looking at the next support, we have the 50% retracement level sitting at around 1510 to 1520. And below that level, in a more bearish scenario, we also have the important golden pocket area of support in between around 1360 to 1.4k. And if you're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 6-hour ETH to US dollar chart, technically speaking, as of right now, this short-term bullish divergence is still currently active, because unlike Bitcoin, we are still seeing the 6-hour Ethereum RSI actually hold above this ascending line of support, at least as of right now. And so while this is the case, while this short-term bullish divergence remains active, once again, this is simply pointing towards a bit of a pause from that bearish trend on the daily time frame. And so this is why we've seen mostly choppy sideways price action in the imminent short term just over the last few days since this bullish divergence confirmed on the smaller time frames. But as I've also said over the last few days, considering this small bullish divergence is only on smaller time frames, once again, this is only pointing towards a bit of a pause from the bearish trend and not necessarily a massive trend reversal from bearish back to bullish on the daily time frame. Once again, this bullish divergence on the 6-hour chart is not necessarily powerful enough to do that. But either way, if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways in the short term like right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.